But we start with LSU football. Loads of news, and all pretty good for LSU over the last 20 hours or so. Jay Ward has announced he is going to come back to LSU for his last year at safety. Jenkins announced the same thing at wide receiver. Still waiting on word from Micah Baskerville and Ali Gay. No announcement to me would seem like a good thing. They could, of course, put their name in and not tell anybody, but seems like something you'd let people know about. And then 2 transfer portal hits for Brian Kelly's program. Treymon Shorts, a 3-year starter at offensive line at East Tennessee State, an All-American for that program. Also high school class of 2017. This will be his 6th year of college football on the offensive line. He is coming to LSU, announced that very recently. And then Mekhi Wingo in the last 5 minutes from Missouri, someone we've been tracking for the last couple of weeks. Obviously played for Coach Steeples in high school. He was a freshman all-league player for Missouri this year, a 6'1", 270-pound defensive lineman. He had 14 tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs. He's coming to Baton Rouge as well. So loads of good news for Coach Kelly's program over in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, this is great. This is exactly what this program needs, especially when you're changing head coaches, got some new people in the building. There's going to be some departure, but with that, you got to replace, and I think they've been doing that at an all-time high level. We were worried about the coordinator jobs. What's taking so long? He got that done. Filling out this coaching staff extremely well, bringing in the coach from Georgia to be the receivers coach. And now he's attacking this portal and surrounding this building with guys with Louisiana ties. And this is exactly why I think he came to Baton Rouge, to really take advantage of people who may be from Baton Rouge and took their talents elsewhere, or from the state of Louisiana and took their talents elsewhere. To get those guys to come back to Louisiana, I think is a perfect opportunity. I think that's the way they're attacking this portal. And I continue to see them doing more work here, because it's just really not looking like it's going to be many freshmen coming in, or maybe a couple spots that they're saving, maybe for Jacoby Matthews or Javante Sisson type guy like that. But they're doing their damage in the transfer portal, and it's definitely a pleasure to see.
So let's talk about Treymon Shorts first, the offensive lineman from East Tennessee State. 6'4", 325 pounds, probably can play center and guard for you if you need to. And I think that they've tried their hardest to shore this up. You obviously, Shorts coming in. They got the commitment a little bit earlier from Miles Frazier, who was a Florida International transfer that everybody was in on. And if you look at the offensive line room right now, your numbers are getting a little bit better. Is it proven? Does it look exceptionally strong at this point? No. There's got to be some development with Coach Davis in that room. But you got Cam Wire coming back. You got Miles Frazier and Treymon Shorts, who are your transfer portal guys who are older and ready to play. And then you look at the rest of the roster that's returning with Anthony Bradford and Garrett Dellinger and Marcus Dumerville and Xavier Hill, Marlon Martinez, Charles Turner, Cardale Thomas, Kikpo Macaniole. And then you look at the signing class that they inked: Emory Jones, Will Campbell, and Bo Bordelon. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys. Does it look like a bunch of All-Americans right out of the chute? Maybe not, but your depth is looking a little bit better, that you locked up 2 vital guys in your class, and Emory Jones and Will Campbell from inside the state, and then supplement it with 2 guys who are ready to play from the transfer portal. And going from 10 to 14, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. And I think we saw last year with this offensive line, guys in and out of the lineup, it seems like a revolving door. You got to have numbers. You got to have depth. And I think the issue with LSU last year is you may have had depth, but it was guys who playing positions that they weren't accustomed to. They went through training camp playing a position, went through spring football playing a position, and then now they're being thrust into the lineup and at a position they never played before. So when you get some depth like this, now you have a backup guard that actually plays guard. You got backup tackles that actually play tackle. The center situation, I'm kind of curious on how they're going to go with that front. There's really not a guy I can point to that I trust to play center in the SEC right now, but got to trust Coach Kelly and Q that you definitely want the more depth in that room, and I think that's what they definitely got done.
Look, Brad Davis got thrown into the fire in August last year and had to show up and get it done. And his group developed over the year, but it was difficult with the injuries, timing, all that kind of stuff. I'm thrilled for him that once this signing period is over in February, and then you start to look towards spring ball, he can kind of exhale and go, all right, let's go to practice. Let's work on some stuff. Like, we don't have to get ready for a game right now. We don't have to get ready for the opener. Like, we can just develop some cohesion. I can evaluate guys. We can teach. It's just a much better timeline for him. And I've said this many times. I believe he's a really, really good coach. I'm thrilled that they kept him on staff. And I think that he's now got a room that he can mold together that ought to be a pretty functional offensive line.
Yeah, I think so too. And we saw the progression with the offensive line last year, especially starting off the season trying to rush the ball. To tell me we're going to rush for 300 yards on Florida, you'd be looking at you like you were crazy. And you saw that. That was with Coach Brad Davis. He wasn't around in Baton Rouge long, but you saw what he could do, especially with guys who really weren't starters, finding a way to get production out them and finding different things that the offensive line can do well. I think he's got to continue to do that. Now you got some freshmen, really talented kids coming in. You got some guys who played at the college level with experience, and I think they're going to find the best five to go out there and really try to help this offense. Because you look at the quarterback room, you look at the running back room, you look at the receiver room, there's talent. If you just give the quarterback time, I think you can definitely make some hay with this offense.
You mentioned the receiver room. Jenkins announced that he will return. Your thoughts on his role as a leader and then what he can be on the field next year?
Yeah, we talked about the importance of that last year with guys like John Trey on the roster and some of the other guys who were leader veteran guys. They weren't really playing much because of all the talent that was in the room. But I think Jeray is definitely a guy. He's proved himself, especially this season. With multiple quarterbacks, with the receiver playing quarterback, he's caught touchdowns and made his impact. So I think that's a guy that you can definitely point to that's going to play a majority of the snaps next year. And it definitely helps the depth in that room because something we were talking about earlier this week as well.
Jay Ward coming back at safety. Look, I think I pumped Jay Ward up big time in camp. I thought every time we went out there, he flashed, did something, made a play. And I thought, man, this move back to safety is really going to be what sparks his career, and he's going to be a real impact guy. Battled some injuries, had some up and down performances. I think when you're a safety and you miss tackles, they're more visible and exasperating than if you're an interior defensive lineman and the linebacker or safety just cleans it up right after you miss it. So it maybe showed a little bit more. But when you look at the numbers in that defensive backfield room, him coming back was absolutely vital because they don't have anyone left.
Yeah, they definitely don't. It's really not much depth. We talk about being DBU. Definitely a week ago, definitely didn't feel that way. We're starting to get guys from Arkansas, starting to get some guys, from ULL, and starting to really try to get some depth. But I think getting Jay Ward back, I think that was really huge. He was a guy that, talking to the coaches, before the season last year, they thought he had a potential to be an all-SEC guy, potential, first or second round draft pick in the future. So I think the versatility he brings with his ball skills, I think I would much rather him be a cornerback on the outside, one of those tall corners we've seen LSU kind of the Coach Treymon prototypes playing on the outside. I think with the safeties you get from Arkansas, and then maybe Sage Ryan can play his natural position at safety, I wouldn't be too upset if they moved him back to corner.
They still got to add numbers in that defensive backfield. They simply don't have enough. I realize that you're bringing in LaTerrence Welch in the signing class, and you've got some young players, and you've added from Arkansas in the portal. They still have got to add more because they don't have enough near enough secondary players to go through a spring camp. And I say this, they have 9 spots remaining to fill with the signing period and with the transfer portal. They've got 9 spots left, which is a lot. That's a lot of guys you can go after and go get, and they've certainly got to go ahead and do that. If you look to guys that have not announced a decision, Micah Baskerville and Ali Gay are those two. The kind of word on the street is that it's very possible, if not probable, that both return. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. I don't know if you've heard anything new. My contention was that Ali Gay, with that size, that frame, the ability that he'd have to test, I think that he would be a draftable guy. Certainly he could improve his draft stock by playing an entire season at LSU where he's missed some time, but I'll believe that when I see it. Baskerville, a chance to lead the defense, kind of been overshadowed the past couple of years by some elite linebackers. We'll see what he decides to do, but that would be a huge help to LSU as well because that linebacker room is thin as well.
Yeah, that's definitely 2 guys you could really, really use on the defense next year. I think especially looking just in that linebacker room, especially outside linebacker, we kind of saw this defense make that switch, and that's exactly the defense that Kansas City runs. They run three interior linemen with 2 outside linebackers. You're going to need some edge rushers, and I think Ali Gay fits that mold perfectly. I would love if he came back and became a Tiger again for one more year to help his draft stock, and I think it desperately needs in the actually interior linebacker room. If Micah Baskerville did decide to come back, you can definitely see him, pencil him in as a 100-tackle guy that's going to be all over the field and really kind of watching what Damone did and helped his stock. I think for Micah, he could definitely put himself in a similar position if he decided to come back.
It's going to be a big deal for those guys, and I certainly, as a selfish LSU fan, hope that they make the decision to return. It seems like that happens a lot in Tuscaloosa. The guys deciding they're going to hang out and return. I would hope that would happen here in Baton Rouge. Kind of your gut on what you think those two guys will do.
Whew. I thought yesterday 2 of the 3 will return. We got 1 down, so we need 1 more. I think, honestly, I'm going to put my bifocals on right now. Both of them are coming back. We're going to get both of them back.
It would lend itself to that, being that they haven't made an announcement. Generally speaking, that just means, yeah, I'm back. Like, I'm in classes, and I'm going to go ahead and play another year. Usually when you forego that senior year is when you make that announcement. We'll see. Another thing, I cannot, for the life of me, keep track of who is in what class. I've totally lost all of it. I don't know who's – I've lost it totally. So I guess I'll get that back in the next couple of years once the COVID years in the back burner and everybody that played through it has moved out. But I cannot keep up with what class anybody's in. So those guys are obviously eligible. Hopefully they come back and have 1 more year, whatever that may be, at LSU.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt and Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.